Back for a, well, I was going to say another video, but it's probably the first proper video in some time. I won't say Happy New Year, even though I've just said it. New year, new focus. Yeah, right, whatever. Yeah, I need a shave, I need to cut my hair. But before I do that, I've been wanting to do this for probably 10 years. Never got around to it. Saw something online about a month ago about it. I don't know, I was reading something and I thought, oh, I'm going to buy the parts and do this. And obviously you can tell by the title to the video, this is concerning the Jaguar controller and converting a Jaguar controller to have a rotary potentiometer on it. Potentiometer? Rotary switch. Rotary potentiometer. Whatever. I should have got my wording correct, shouldn't I, before I even started this video. But anyway, this is all about converting a Jaguar controller to have a rotary doobry to enable you to play Tempest as the way it was meant to be played and not on the standard controller, you know, using a spinner. That's it, the spinner. The spinner. So, my Jaguar that I've only got one controller, and I didn't want to butcher that, so I actually went on eBay a few weeks ago and bought a, well, not a new Jaguar controller, they don't make them anymore, and it's definitely not new old stock, but a boxed Jaguar controller. So what we're going to do, or we're going to attempt to do, is to basically butcher this controller. So I'm sure that all Atari fans will be spamming me with abuse and hate, but we're going to take that. We're going to, I think we're going to place it there so we can get rid of the D-pad and put the spinner on there. Fairly straightforward modification, apparently. I think it's 3 wires that you need to solder onto the main PCB. You've got to mount the spinner decoder, which I've got one here. I will put the part number of this in the description. Bought that off eBay. It was about £4 or £5, something like that. Wasn't very expensive. And we got a spinner knob. Now these are actually quite hard to get hold of on eBay in the UK. I think there was only one company that sold them that were any good in respect to the way they looked, and they weren't made of plastic. This is aluminium, so nice knob. You can't beat a good knob, can you? So all in all, including the controller, I can't remember how much the controller cost me. I don't think it was particularly cheap, but I don't think it was over extortionate. But anyway, can't remember. So yeah, so we're going to rip this apart. We are going to take the PCB out and we're going to crack on and do a mod on it, see whether it works or not. Fingers crossed. First thing we need to do is fairly straightforward, mundane process of taking the stock controller apart. So you'll see that there are these pads that are effectively, there's 4 of them on the back, and they are covering the screws. So we just need to take the pads off and then reveal the screws underneath, and then we'll take those out and then we can dismantle the pad. So I'll go and do that now. So here is the pad dismantled, and what we're going to do is that we're going to be soldering a wire onto that terminal, onto the terminal next to it, and also onto that terminal there, which is the second one in from the end. And I'm going to wire those up to the spinner, potentiometer, or whatever you want to call it. Oh, focus on there, and it's going to go on those 3 legs there, so you can ignore those 2 back legs, and it's only those 3 that we're going to use. But I'm going to solder everything on now, and then just tell you what I've soldered on where, so you can see that. Okay, right, so I've soldered all of this up. I'm going to try and explain the best way I can. Apologies for the lack of focus on the picture. Right, so you've got 3 pins that come out of the side of the rotary switch, and if you position the rotary switch as I've got it there, so the switch pointing that way and the 3 legs pointing out the side, this will ensure you get the orientation right in respect of how I've wired this up. The middle pin, that one there, which you can't really see because they're all got the same coloured heat shielding on and they're all the same coloured wires, but take my word for it, the middle pin goes to this pad here. The bottom pin, as we see the rotary switch, so the one on the bottom there, that goes right next to it there, so the second one in, and then the top pin goes to this solder point there, which is the second one in from the left. So again, you've got your middle pin there, you have your bottom pin there, and you have the top pin soldered to there. And that's basically all there is to actually doing the mod. So I'm now going to put a hole straight into here so I can actually mount the rotary switch coming through this way, so it comes out the front of the control pad. So we'll do that next and see how we get on. If you excuse the dust from drilling through the circuit board, that is the rear with the rotary switch fitted. Just turn it over, which is the bit we saw before we're soldering onto. That's it there from the front of the PCB. So now I'll just mount that into the case, put the knob on, and we'll give it a punt and see how we get on. One last thing to say as I reassemble the pad is that because you have that rotary switch and it sits proud, this part here of the pad case fouls it now, so I've basically got to cut that away. So what I'm going to do is, I think if I take the centre out, or the centre circle area out with the cross in it and the supporting piece there, that should give enough clearance. So I'm just going to cut that out now and we'll see if it all fits back together again. So the only way it would fit is actually by taking a fair amount of that out. It's not hard to do if you got the right tools, which is hammer and chisel, only joking. But yeah, you have to take a fair bit of it out. Actually, it's not just the centre core, it's also part of the lower surround. But that now provides enough space for that rotary switch to fit and for the case to go back on flush. So we will get it all back together again. We'll stick the knob on the front and then we'll give it a blast and see if it works. There you go, as you can see, it's all working on the old rotary hoof. That's what it looks like. So, job done. See you on the next video.